All right. What do you think about this $10 million bounty?
So first and foremost, I think it's absolutely abhorrent. I think it is disgusting, vile, and anyone who thinks otherwise is just taking an inhuman approach to it. I think it's extremely troubling, should be taken extremely seriously, and everyone should really ponder what the possible consequences to even this kind of display would be for all of us. I mean, we're talking about a civilian. Barron is a civilian. We're talking about what the sins of the father, in theory. This is wildly troubling to have a nation, a country, put a bounty on a civilian. Because even to the extent that you somehow, in your mind of minds, could legitimize that kind of disgusting rhetoric. Um, you know, you're talking about, you don't know how many casualties. You're talking about a lot of people in this country. We're going through a mental health epidemic. We're going through a financial crisis, and you know there's no breach of contract here to sue Iran if they don't make good on the payment. And you could have someone in a desperate position, maybe it's a certain political position, and realizes it's a kamikaze action, right? That's a one-way street. But this should be condoned at all levels by all people. Um, this is not what we want humanity to come down to. The the counterpoint, if there ever is one, that I would foresee is the idea that unfortunately, when we have gone after military leaders, leaders of oppositions, foreign oppositions, we have inadvertently or not, depending on your point of view, hurt the relatives of those leaders. When we did recent bombings in the last few months in Iran, it wasn't just opposition leaders that were eliminated. There were wives, there were brothers, there were relatives. Now, they were not the target, but they were very real collateral casualties. That's not what war is supposed to be about. People forget fundamentally that's why nations put boots on ground. That's why we send soldiers in to make the ultimate sacrifice so civilians are not sacrificed. It's not because we want to invade per se, but because we want to make sure only the intended targets are affected and that we are not taking out civilians. We're not, just chalking it up to the ends justify the means. These are very, very sad times we're in. For that to even be attempted, I remember I was in New York, still in law school during 9/11. And for those who don't remember or weren't there, 9/11 compelled many young Americans to join the armed forces, right? If you go after the son who was a civilian of an elected official, you don't know what kind of mass response you are inviting. You could have uproar within our country. Then you start to blame those of a similar nationality, those of a similar religion. The cascade would be just detrimental on so many levels. Um, that's not something that would be lightly forgiven or forgotten, nor should it. But it's wildly troubling. This goes beyond. This could be a possible war crime. I mean, you're targeting civilians. He has no military application. This is just a vendetta now. This is so. It's gone beyond politics. It's beyond geography. It's become very personal, and I would expect a scorched earth response. I mean, this is just not what we want to see leaders doing. This would be the argument for why Iran should not have nuclear weapons, because they are inviting assassinations on civilians, on effectively children. I know Barron is a legal adult. He's 19, 20 years old. I'm old enough now to still consider him a kid. You are targeting children, for the extent that the United States is not necessarily considered the good guys in the rest of the world. And there are many people in this country who don't consider us the good guys. Why are we involved with Iran right now? Did we voluntarily, were we pulled into it? I'm not here for those politics. You go back to the October attacks between Israel and Gaza and the Palestinians, and there were many children, many civilians that were unalived in that event. You don't have to take one side or another to agree children should not be the victim. Civilians should not be the intended targets. That should be admonished worldwide. And for anyone to say otherwise for any reason is very concerning in its own right. You don't play politics here. You don't take sides. You say, targeting children, targeting civilians is wrong, full stop.